Hello everyone, and welcome to the Tailored Acres YouTube channel. I'm Taylor and I garden in Wisconsin Zone 4B. In this video, I am going to go through the seeds that us northern gardeners should be starting indoors. And there are a few reasons for this that I'll go over, but I also wanted to bring up that I do have a seed starting video and a seed starting equipment video, and I'll link those two below for you. Starting some seeds indoors in northern zones is essential due to our region's relatively short growing season. Many of the plants that I'm going to go through require a longer period to mature than locally outdoor growing season comfortably allows. By starting seeds indoors, we can efficiently extend our growing season, giving plants a head start before transplanting them outside. This early start is crucial not only for ensuring plants have enough time to mature and produce a harvest, but also for optimizing the growth conditions. Indoors, seedlings can be protected from variable spring weather conditions, including unexpected late frosts and cold snaps that could otherwise damage or kill young plants. Additionally, indoor starting allows for better control over the growing environment, including soil moisture, temperature, and light, which can lead to stronger, more resilient plants that are better equipped to thrive once moved outdoors. So the first step in this is you are going to need to verify your last frost date. And I do this by going to the Farmer's Almanac website, and they have a section on there, and you can just search this in Google for your last frost date by your zip code. So my last frost date is May 15th. One thing that I didn't know when I first started is that that last frost date really isn't your target date on when you are going to plant these things out. You're still going to need to check the forecast and plant things out when you're above any frost for a lot of things. Some things you can plant out early because they are frost tolerant, but anything below like 28 degrees usually is a no-go for most plants. Temperatures below 36 degrees, we can expect frost. So when you're going to plant your seedlings out, definitely be checking those low temps in the forecast as far out as you can see. And don't plant things that are not frost tolerant until after you're well out of those cold temperatures. There are some plants that I have, like tomatoes and peppers, that I wait even longer than most things to plant out, because if it is too cool, they really suffer and have transplant shock from those cool temperatures, and it really stunts their growth. And one last thing to mention too, starting seeds indoors is very important to harden those seedlings off. Now, I'll be doing a video in the future about this because it's still winter here, but the general concept is to be slowly introducing those seedlings to the outdoor conditions, and that has a lot to do with the sun and and wind. The sun is the most important, so it's just introducing those seedlings a few hours extra a day to the outdoor conditions. All right, so let's start with vegetables first, and I'll also go through cut flowers that I grow if you're interested in that. So the first vegetables that I start are usually between 10 and 12 weeks, and that is onions, leeks, and celery. Now, I have not grown celery or leeks. I am starting celery this year, so that will be a new one for me. But onions, I've been doing at 12 weeks, and that has gone really well for me. I do transplant out before my last frost usually, because those are a more cold tolerant plant. The next set is the 8 to 10 week starting, and that is peppers and eggplant. Peppers I do grow, and those I do tend to start a little bit earlier, and that's worked out for me. I usually start mine about February 15th, and that is about 13 weeks before last frost for me. The next group is the 6 to 8 weeks before your last frost, and those are tomatoes and brassicas. So brassicas are things like broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, those types of plants. And those also are usually frost tolerant, so those can go out earlier. Then we're on to our 4 to 6 weeks before last frost. And these are Swiss chard, lettuce, and most herbs. Well, with herbs, you'll want to check the packs to make sure, but most herbs are in that range. And if anyone has any tips on growing Swiss chard, I would appreciate it. I failed pretty hard 2 years. They were just tiny and never really grew. So any tips, drop them in the comments below for me. Lettuce is another cold hardy vegetable, so you can direct sow that as well. But starting it indoors does give you a little bit of a head start. So if you want to have a long harvest window for lettuce, you can do some of both. And there are a few things that I start 2 weeks before my last frost date, and that's my pumpkins and my squash. And this is not one that you have to do. You can definitely direct sow these, but I've found that it helps me to combat the squash vine borers, which is a huge problem that I've been facing the last couple of years. So it gets me to a point where the stems are a little bit thicker and I can inject them with the BT. That has been my best method so far to combat them. So that's why I do those a little bit earlier. It also helps you know which ones are going to germinate. And you can also do that in the little baggie with the damp paper towel, which I did in my pepper video. And that's how I germinate my pepper seedlings. Next, let's talk about cut flowers. The first one that I started inside this year was my Lisianthus, and I started mine 16 weeks early. I am going to be planting that out before my last frost date as a cool weather flower. A lot of these other flowers I mentioned are also cool weather flowers, and Lisa Mason Ziegler has an excellent book detailing all of that. This is new to me this year, so if you want to follow along, I'll be trying to document my process and how it's working for me in that. We have our 8 to 12 weeks before last frost is going to be our foxglove. This is new to me this year, starting it from seed, and I'm really excited. They are beautiful flowers. Our next two that we're going to start on the 8 to 10 week window is delphinium and snapdragons. And both of these I've grown before with great success starting them at this time. In our 6 to 8 week before last frost window, there's some new ones that I'm starting this year in this window, and those are Rudbeckia, Verbena bonariensis, dahlias from seed, and I think those are all the new ones. So then the ones that I've done previous years are Status, Stock, Asters, Gomphrena, Strawflower, and Feverfew. So this is usually just in general a very popular window to start seedlings. It's always like the greatest effort in starting things, and I get really sick of seed starting around that window. And then our last window is 4 to 6 weeks for flowers. A lot of these you could have success direct sowing, but as a northern gardener, I would recommend starting them indoors if you can, because it will give you a head start on getting some of those cut flowers. So these ones are celosia, marigold, cosmos, and sweet peas. And all of these are gorgeous flowers. As with anything related to gardening, there is flexibility in these plans and dates and methods of seed starting. So give it a shot, see what works for you. You know, you can even do some direct sowing compared to starting inside and see what you need to do in the future too for yourself. So I hope this was helpful. I hope I covered all the details I needed to help you out and your indoor seed starting plan as a northern gardener. So if you enjoyed this video, subscribe, leave some comments. I love to hear from you guys if you liked it, if you didn't like it, so that I can be more useful for you as a resource in the future. So take care and good luck with your garden this year.